I was going to start with what's kind of a classic, I guess. You know, it's kind of become a classic over time. Everyone who listens to this album, you know, all agrees it's a great album that everyone should be listening to. Lateralus by Tool. Woohoo! Kind of a classic to a lot of people. Lateralus by Tool, released on May 15th back in 2001. So it's a 20-year-old. Holy crap! It's a 20-year-old album. I did not realize how old that album was. It's gonna be 21 in May, so May 15th. On May 15th of this year, Lateralus will be able to order a beer in America. That's pretty dope. It's an album that clocks in at 78 minutes and 51 seconds, and it has 13 tracks. It's a hefty boy. Let me tell you, every time I listen to it, I have moments where I'm like, oh man, I forgot how long this album is. Fun fact on the Lateralus album. It's so long, CDs, I believe, can only fit roughly 79 minutes of like audio. So Lateralus literally, like, it pushes the boundary there. It like really pushed it on as to the storage capacity for that full album. To go over a background on the things I know about Lateralus, what I knew before listening to it, what I knew. I actually didn't start listening to Tool until around 2017. I know of their work. I had friends who were super into them, and they'll tell me all the time, like, Joe Fish, you gotta listen to Tool, dude. Like, they're so cool. Like, Tool's so good. How you not start listening to them, bro? And I even tried to listen to them. I really tried to give it the old college try and sit down and listen. I couldn't really focus in on it, and it didn't hit me like I wanted it to, like it should have. And the catalyst that helped me decide, okay, I'm gonna finally listen to Tool. I have a friend who is a big Tool fan, and they were gonna go see Tool live, and they had an extra ticket. I don't remember why they had an extra ticket. They just did. He was like, do you want the ticket, and do you want to go to the show? And I was like, I mean, I'm not really into Tool that much. I was like, I mean, yeah, I guess I'll go. I'm not doing much that day, so whatever. Let me tell you, wow, what a show that was. I did not know their music very well, but one, they played their own music very, 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 very well. I recognized that. I was like, they are playing this at the highest level possible. Like, this is some excellent music. I remember I was watching the show, and behind them they had what looked like a giant red curtain. Like, I'm talking that classic, like, theater curtain you see. You know which one. It's like, it looked like that. I was like, wow, that's cool that they have a giant red curtain behind them. That's very, very classy, very nice. I'm all for that. Hell yeah, let's go. I'm all yeah. And then after the first song ended, the curtains moved, and I realized they were not curtains. It was a giant screen. It was just a giant TV screen, and I lost my mind. I was like, this is incredible. And the rest of the show was just light show galore, light show amazingness. I realized, damn, this is an incredible show. This music was amazing. Go and finally listen to Tool's music. Let's go listen to it. I ended up really liking all the Tool songs in general, but Lateralus kind of stuck with me a little bit more. So what about Lateralus did I like so much? Well, I want to talk about some of that. Just a couple things that I personally have found enjoyment in it. Just the dynamic range that's in that album. Incredible sometimes. Albums being dynamic in having a dynamic range isn't too common. Most albums and most songs nowadays are just loud all the time in general. There's a couple things wrong about that, but I mean, nothing crazy wrong about it. Some songs don't need to be quiet. They're meant to be loud. And I don't think it's a crime if every song on your album's loud, you know. And Lateralus is one of those albums that has a very big dynamic range. Explain what I mean by dynamic range. Dynamic range is, it's the range between the loudest sound and the most quietest sound. The amount of space in between those two things, in terms of volume at least. Yeah, Lateralus has very huge dynamic range. It's really cool. I think it's interesting because seeing as this album came out in 2001, for me at least, I can't think of an album that came out after Lateralus that had as much dynamic range as Lateralus. The other thing I like about the use of sound design elements throughout various songs is really cool. Examples, the song Eon Blue Apocalypse has some very pretty guitar tones that have a lot of delay and reverb on them. It's a very good clean tone. Fight de Oyad is cool. The drums are mixed very interesting. They're not so up in your face in the front. They're just kind of like put in the back as background while this like famous broadcast about a guy talking about some aliens from Area 51 is playing, and there's all this cool like it essentially sounds like a TV static and stuff playing in the background. Yeah, in the song Mantra there is a sound, or it's slowed down and it has a lot of reverb. It's like it's that is actually Maynard James Keenan's. It's his cat, and he would just like squeeze his cat, and the cat would make all these sounds, and they just slowed it down and pitch shifted it. And then just the mixing work and the various effects used on all the instrumentation. In some songs you'll hear like a phaser is put on the drum cymbal on the track that has the cymbals for the drums. Some of the like fade in effects on the vocals to have them like fade in and do, you know, right at a big moment with like some reversing it and then fading it in. Really good mixing and mastering work throughout the entire album. And then finally the other thing I like is just the flow that happens in between all the songs. Like just how every song a lot of songs just flow into each other. A simple thing, but I personally appreciate it every time I hear it. So that's part of the reason why Lateralus is up there. Lateralus is one of those albums, so I really wanted to kind of deep dive and talk about it. And I was having this moment. I was sitting down and looking up the lyrics to every song. I was like, I want to deep dive. Let's really talk about all the songs and talk about the meaning of everything. And I realized, wow, there is a lot of details about everything with every song in this entire album. One of the big things, this is one of the few things I knew about the album as a whole, is a thing called the Holy Gift. One of the leading theories about Lateralus, I don't think it's been officially confirmed. I couldn't find anything that officially confirmed it from the band themselves. One of the leading theories with Lateralus is that the original order of the songs when the album was released is not the correct order that the songs were originally meant to be in. The band intended them to be in a different order, and they chose to release them in a separate order so that we, the fans, could figure out the code and crack it by rearranging the order, and that is the true order that the album is supposed to be. What is this new order, you might think? Well, the Holy Gift is based off the Fibonacci sequence. What is the Fibonacci sequence? It is a big mathy thing that I'm too stupid to truly properly explain. But basically, it is a mathematical sequence that creates the perfect spiral. You almost can't talk about Lateralus without talking about this. And I will say one thing. I have listened to Lateralus front to back in the original release order, and I've eventually sat down and listened to the Fibonacci sequence order several times as well. Personally, the Fibonacci sequence order, the Holy Gift album order, you can't deny that it does make the album feel different as a whole. So it's really truly listening to the Holy Gift is like a completely different experience. You listen to the same album but a different. It's the Full Metal Alchemist to Lateralus's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But one of the things I was trying to look up just stuff about the Holy Gift, and I wanted to understand it more. I want to understand what the purpose behind it was, and I found there, just like everything else, there is a Tools subreddit. And I found on the subreddit, someone posted about the Holy Gift, and there was all the comments were just people talking about how they hated the Holy Gift theory, and they hated everything about it, and they hated that there were fans that were so hung up on it. The people who hated it came up with like all these excuses to be like, it's just dumb what they're doing, like it makes no sense whatsoever, like they're just really shoehorning theories in there to fit some kind of mold that they want it to fit, and there's no reason for it. And I was like, wow, and I made a realization too that I just kind of sat there and I was like, well, why do they hate it so much? Like, why do they hate that people are analyzing these things or overanalyzing these things? And why are the fans who are really so into it that they're like, we have to analyze because I mean, again, the people who were into it to this day, they're still like coming up with theories. I was like, man, dude, like, yeah, people do really kind of overanalyze it. Even I was like, oh, all right, guys, come on, we got to take a step back here. I think we're going a little too far. Like, I'm all for fun theories to make this album more interesting, but I realized, I was like, why the fuck am I doing this? What's the purpose here? Why am I doing this? It made me think about just in general why we why do we analyze things? Why do we overanalyze music and media in general? Because it seems like we're bending over backwards for no real reason to just find these intricacies and find these little minute details that may or may not be there. And it seems like we're just doing all these mental gymnastics to try and find, like, we have a theory. We're like, oh, the theory, my theory is, it feels like people do a lot of confirmation bias to find their answer. I realize that's kind of the beauty of it, right? That's the fun of overanalyzing and analyzing these pieces of media or like pieces of music. It's not finding that answer and being like, yes, I did it. I found the correct answer. I am a genius. All hail me. It's not that. It's the journey to get there. It's finding this piece of thinking, this hypothesis, going, interesting. I wonder if like they were trying to tell us this when they sang this part or when they wrote this lyric. And then while you're thinking that, you're listening to what's probably your favorite album of all time or your favorite song of all time, or you're watching your favorite piece of media all time and finding little clues that are slowly putting the pieces to a puzzle together that you realized were there the whole time, that you had, was right in front of your face, but you weren't aware enough to like start putting the pieces together. But it's the journey. It's the journey to finding that end goal, finding out, is what I'm theorizing or hypothesizing gonna be correct? Is it legitimate? It's just the journey of getting there is what's so much fun. Like, yeah, finding these deeper meanings, it might be pointless, but you're spending time listening to an album you truly enjoy, listening to a piece of music you really enjoy, watching a piece of media that you're so fond of, and just whether you get a confirmation or not, well, again, that's the beauty of it. It's the beauty of science, right? Is sometimes you just never know the answer, and the same can be said about doing all these analysis for pieces of media that the creator will never tell us their true intention. They'll keep it to themselves because, who fucking knows? Maybe they're just not aware that you're asking this question in the first place. I mean, really, what it comes down to, whether you like overanalyzing, whether you don't like it, whether you hate it, whether you despise it, whether you think it's amazing, whether you think it's awesome, whether you're just kind of whatever about it. At the end of the day, everyone's having fun, dude. We're fucking listening to music, bro. Let's have fucking fun. Let's just enjoy ourselves. If enjoying it means you want to talk about the intricacies of the religious symbolism of the various lyrical content throughout the album's progression and the song's progression and the use of chords and harmonic melodies, fucking whatever, man, go for it. That's it's all you, bro. It's all you, bro. I hope you're having a fucking great time. Like, music's supposed to be fun. It's always been fun. There's a reason I started making music. There's a reason I still play music. It's always just been a fun passion of mine. Go listen to Lateralus by Tool. Go have fun. It's a fantastic rock album, and you should be listening to it right now if you're not. Trust me, you'll love it. It's great. It's a fantastic album. It's worth listening to. There we go. That's what I was trying to get to. Jeez. The thing I've always found funny is watching Maynard James Keenan just perform, because at this particular show, this was the tour where Maynard decided to wear SWAT gear. The knee pads and elbow pads and stuff that he had made him look like an alien. And the way Maynard like dances, that video of like Dobby the elf and he's on that island and dancing kind of weird. I was just like, dude, I think there's an alien on stage. We should probably look into this, guys. Seriously. As no one ever asked a question, like, is that truly Maynard? I think he's been replaced by an alien.